Hi, I'm Kat McDivitt, and I'm going to teach you the secret to creating love that lasts and why most relationship training fails. And here's how I'm going to do it. First, I'm going to talk about the biggest reason you're not getting the change you want. Then we'll talk about the 5 types of relationship training and how to choose the one that gives you the most results. Finally, we'll talk about the one life hack that makes the biggest change in your relationships, quickly bringing you more love, sex, and intimacy. So let's talk about the biggest reason you're not getting the change you want. Now, as Albert Einstein said, we cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we used when we created them. The biggest reason that you're not getting the change that you want is because most training is focusing on some very basic things, and we're going to go into this in more detail, but basically the way our minds and bodies work is that when we're in conflict, change has a hard time sticking. So if you're learning things, there are 5 different levels of who we are. There's where do we hang out? Do we hang out in dive bars or do we hang out at yoga classes? What do we do? How do we speak? What do we do in those classes? Do we smile? Do we use certain words and phrases? How do we behave? And this is more about our skills and our capabilities. Why is about our beliefs and values. And who is about who we are. I am. If any of these items are in conflict, the thing that's on top always wins. So if you learn the very best skills in how to manage conflict, but those skills are in conflict with who you believe you are or what your beliefs are, then those skills will not last. So that's the number one reason why most relationship training doesn't work. So let's talk about the different types of relationship training and so how you can figure out the one that's going to work the best for you. So the very most fundamental relationship training is around changing your environment. It's also the easiest one to implement. So, how to meet men in a new city. So there are trainings out there that talk about kind of how to change where you are in order to create the kinds of relationships that you want to have. For example, if you want to hang out with people who are spiritual, then go to a church or a synagogue or a yoga class. If you want to have a long-term monogamous relationship, you might not want to hang out in swingers clubs. So this is very fundamental. There's good training around this, but this is the very most basic. So anything above this is going to trump it. So you can change out your environment all you want, but if you're not changing how you act and how you behave in that environment, you're probably not going to get the change that you want. It's going to be a whole lot of work. So level 2 is about changing your behavior. And a lot of places like speed seduction is kind of the best example of this. And I think speed seduction, I really am curious about speed seduction because they give you specific phrases and they're very powerful. I'm not saying that speed seduction doesn't work, but it doesn't work if you're just learning the phrases. So speed seduction, a lot of it is around teaching you specific words to use. So it's changing your behavior. But a lot of times if you try and use those words, if somebody tells you what to say or how to smile or how to flirt or how to do any of these sort of external behaviors, but it's in conflict with who you believe you are. If somebody's teaching you all of these flirty moves, but you think that you're dull and boring, then it's not going to come across as genuine. So changing your behavior can work if it's in alignment with who you believe you are. But oftentimes it's, again, very crunchy and very difficult. The third one is changing your strategies. And you see a lot of this in conflict resolution training. If this happens, then this happens, or this happens, do this. And you learn these strategies, and again, I've taken a lot of courses in conflict resolution, and I've implemented some of the skills, and I've found that some of them have worked. I'm not, this can be perfect for you. If what you want to do is learn new strategies to communicate, and again, these strategies are not as powerful if you're not working higher up, if you're not working with your beliefs and your sense of identity. The fourth, and this actually, I had a really hard time finding trainings to give examples of for these last couple ones. The fourth one is changing your beliefs and values. Changing your beliefs is pretty much one of the most powerful ways to change your relationships. And it also is the least amount of work, because with most of these other ones, you're experiencing a lot of friction, because if you create a conflict between your beliefs and your behaviors, first off, your beliefs are generally going to win, and secondly, you're creating a system within yourself that's in conflict and really uncomfortable. So if you want change to be graceful and simple and comfortable, working with beliefs is actually the most powerful way to do it. Well, working with beliefs and identity. So Deepak Chopra has some training around how to change your beliefs, because he understands that changing beliefs is one of the most powerful ways to make permanent long-term changes. And the final level is identity. And the only stuff I could find on identity was the Department of Psychology at UC Berkeley that has a laboratory around really looking at identity and relationships, because most people don't approach things at this level of depth, which is kind of sad. So the question is, why doesn't change last? When we're looking at the 5 types of training and which one might work best for you, which is kind of what I just went through, here's kind of how it works, is you can work on your environment, you can change your environment, but if doing that puts you in conflict with your behavior, your skills, your values, or your identity, basically you're in a new environment feeling really uncomfortable. And you can learn to get through that, but it's hard. It's a very low leverage experience, because you're trying to work on something really far out. If you change your behaviors, again, it's going to be a little bit less difficult to get the results that you want. But still, again, if you set up a conflict, it's not going to end up working out. And so, again, the reason why change often doesn't last is because you're setting up a conflict, and the things that are higher up in the ladder are the ones that trump, are the ones that take precedence. So if you change everything, you change your environment, you change your behaviors, you change your capabilities, you change your values and your beliefs, you still identify as a worthless person, then you're not going to get the results that you want. So I've kind of gone over the 5 types of relationships and how to training, and the one that will be most likely to make a change for you. Now I want to talk about the one life hack that makes the biggest change in your relationships, quickly bringing you more love, sex, and intimacy. And that's changing beliefs. Changing beliefs and changing identity. When you're changing your beliefs and identity, you can awaken to something completely new, unique, and transformative. And we're talking about transformation into who you most want to be, who you've always wanted to be, what your original blueprint is. And that's the work that we do. The secret of creating love that lasts is a step-by-step journey into healthy relationships by starting at the very highest level, starting with making changes, simple changes in who you are, making the changes to become the person you want to be, and allow those changes to trickle down into everything else. Because when you change things from that internal space, then you'll start to see the changes in your values and your beliefs and your skills and your behaviors in your environment. Now, we also deal with those other aspects, but we start with the identity, and we start then with the values and beliefs. And then we can teach you capabilities, but when we teach you these other things, they come naturally and they feel comfortable because you're not immediately setting up a conflict. So come visit us at Loving, Living, Laughing, and join us if you're interested in creating a transformational change and having the love you want.